As my beard has gotten longer, I've become more philosophical, and something I've been thinking about lately is the love-hate relationship that gamers have with their favorite games. For example, I absolutely love Deadlock, and I think that it's an incredibly designed game, but that doesn't stop me from raging at the screen because of characters like Doorman, Sinclair, and Bebop. While some people might view this as a symptom of bad game design, I'm going to make the case today that this is actually a good thing, and that players hating certain parts of the game is healthy when done right. Furthermore, I want to discuss the fine line between mechanics that evoke strong emotions out of players and mechanics that are just outright poorly designed. The point of this video is not to excuse or encourage bad game design, but rather to focus on why it can be a good thing for players to experience frustration at certain points in the game. So, what on earth am I talking about? How could getting upset at video games be a good thing? Have I lost my mind? Well, the argument I'm going to make in this video is based on the idea of yin and yang, the idea that you can achieve harmony by balancing positive and negative forces, and that the two forces provide context for one another. If everything is good 100% of the time or bad 100% of the time, then this imbalance will cause some serious problems. This principle actually matters a lot in the context of gaming. Suppose Deadlock gets an update tomorrow that makes every character completely inoffensive. No character is hated, and no one gets upset at the game feeling unfair. There is no Bebop, no Mo and Krill, no Doorman, and no Sinclair. Everything that you hate is just gone. That sounds like a dream, doesn't it? And for the first few matches, it might even feel good to play. But you'll soon find yourself just getting really bored. Every match will feel mundane, and there won't be any tough, frustrating obstacles to overcome. The game will have lost a lot of the variety and flair that makes every match feel unique, interesting, and engaging. You'd be left with a game that just doesn't evoke the same emotions out of the players, and a lot of the passion people have for the game would quickly fade away. Players need to feel strongly about the characters and mechanics of your game, or else they won't want to play it. Concord failed to even get off the ground because players just weren't interested in its characters at all. Highguard failed because, while players' interest was piqued at first, the gameplay wasn't engaging enough to make people stick. Players raging at certain aspects of your game may seem like a bad problem to have, but it's far, far better than the complete apathy that killed these two games. Gamers play games to feel something, even if that something is frustrating sometimes. But of course, you don't want to go too far in the opposite direction and make everything in your game feel unfair and grating to the player. That's just plain bad game design. No one wants to play a game that's constantly beating you in the face with terrible mechanics. MOBAs and hero shooters need to have a diverse roster of characters that appeal to different playstyles and make each match feel unique. Because of this, it's inevitable that some players will love certain heroes and hate certain other ones. This is not a bad thing, as long as players don't overwhelmingly hate certain characters because they're badly designed. In Deadlock, there are plenty of characters that are frustrating to fight at various stages in the game. Whether it's Bebop hooking you from a million miles away, Lash slamming you into a dynamo ult, a Fed Haze blasting you in the face, or Doorman kidnapping you to the Walker. Almost everyone has the potential to be a powerful threat that forces your respect and makes you adapt to the game in different ways. Sure, it sucks to get your face pounded in by Abrams and Calico over and over again, but it's necessary for the game's design because it provides you a challenge to overcome. We as humans are hardwired to love problem solving, and every video game under the sun can be boiled down to some kind of problem solving simulator. If a game doesn't present you with a problem to solve, then you're never going to have the satisfaction of finding the solution. When Vindicta is causing you a headache because she's blasting your face off repeatedly, it feels immensely satisfying to finally buy knockdown and slam her to the ground. When you're raging at the screen because Lash ulted you into his tower for the third time this game, it feels incredible to buy Counterspell and show him who's boss the next time he comes around. When you're losing your marbles over Viper shredding your health pool in 2 seconds flat, there's no greater feeling than buying Disarming Hex and laughing in her face. What Deadlock does extremely well is make all of its characters threatening powerhouses in different ways, and then it also gives players a whole host of different tools to counter them all. As of right now, you can counter literally everything in the game through the right combination of positioning, ability usage, item purchases, and team play, no matter how annoying the ability you're up against might feel. This is what prevents annoying characters like Bebop, Moe and Krill, and Doorman from being considered bad game design in Deadlock. All of their mechanics are designed with loads of counterplay in mind, and you can defeat all of them fair and square with smart gameplay decisions. There are multiple paths you can take to counter them too. For example, against Moe and Krill, you can counter his ult by positioning with your team so they can help you, silencing him when he gets near you so he can't grab you, using counterplay items like Indomitable and Unstoppable, using movement abilities to kite him and keep your distance, or just being really tanky and sustaining your way through the combo. In Deadlock, players have so much agency when it comes to counterplay that when you die to something like Moe and Krill's combo or Bebop's hook, it's not because they're unfair, it's because you didn't play smartly enough. Their abilities are bold and aggressive, and that's what makes them push players' buttons, but because there's so much counterplay baked into the game, Valve has shifted the player's mindset from, "Ugh, this is so unfair, they need to change this character immediately," to, "Ugh, this is so frustrating. What can I do to get back at this Bebop and defeat him?" Deadlock also gives you moments of reprieve where you get to relax and take a break from the heroes that are frustrating you the most. If you're tired of Drifter clawing your face off on Yellow Lane, then just go to Green Lane and do a bit of farming near your walker. Deadlock gives you plenty of time and space to catch up in a match when you're behind and play away from the annoying enemies until you've got the necessary tools to counter them. It's not in your face 100% of the time. Now, for a bit of context, let's take a look at a game that fails in this regard: Paladins. Many of Paladins' characters were unfun to play against and universally hated because they were just straight up bad game design. One such character who was notorious for this was Seven, and no, I'm not talking about the Deadlock Seven. Seven was a character who released with the strongest movement abilities in the game bar none, and he also had a high DPS long-ranged hit-scan SMG. This combination of traits went against several good game design principles the game had previously established for its other high-mobility characters, as champions like Eevee and Maeve had slow projectile-based weapons with medium DPS that encouraged them to use their movement abilities to get in close quarters and weave shots in between their abilities. Seven was basically untouchable for most of the cast, since he outranged many champions and could fly to the other side of the map if he was ever in danger. Of course, some characters had crowd control or burst abilities to counter this character, but champions like Tyra and Skye were just straight up screwed if there was a 7 on the enemy team, unless there was a clear skill gap between them. And the item shop really only offered one soft counterplay item, some damage reduction that you were probably going to buy anyways. On top of that, whenever you were in a match with Seven, you had to deal with him the entire time. Paladin's gameplay loop is a constant cycle of going in, fighting the enemies, dying, and then doing it all over again. Seven constantly vexes you for the entire time you're in the match without a hint of reprieve unless he's dead. Paladins made a champion that many other characters couldn't fairly engage with, and it didn't offer enough distinct and dynamic counterplay options for him. On top of that, Seven's abilities were on a power level well beyond the scope of other similar characters in the game, which just resulted in him being a blatantly bad character design that caused balancing issues for the rest of Paladin's existence. Hatred and frustration are an inevitable part of the gaming experience. Unless the game is just flat out boring and uninteresting, you're going to end up getting angry about something in the game eventually. However, this irritation can actually end up being a good thing for the game when it's managed properly. Competitive games like Deadlock need a large and diverse roster of characters to be successful, and this will no doubt lead to every player having heroes that they love and heroes that they hate. The important thing is that there are plenty of mechanisms the players can use to counter these characters. There need to be strong adversaries in every match that are countered in different ways, because overcoming difficult obstacles is immensely satisfying. However, without several options of counterplay for the players to choose, these frustrating mechanics can quickly turn into genuine game design problems that make people not want to play the game. It's important to have a good balance of strong characters with diverse abilities and several ways for players to respond to these characters in order to manage the yin and yang of emotions and achieve the type of harmony that makes people love your game. But anyways, what do you think about my analysis of the love-hate relationship that players have with their games? I know that this is probably a more radical video topic of mine, and I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments section if you think I'm off base. I just think it's a really interesting topic to talk about, and so I figured I would make a video on it. But anyways, if you guys have enjoyed this video, of course, make sure to drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos from me, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.